So thanks everyone for watching my last videos. I've gotten a lot of questions since I shared about how I launched Studio Time, which is a marketplace. And a lot of what I do, a lot of the projects are marketplaces. So a lot of questions from people that are looking to launch their own. And in this video, I want to share 3 tips that you can use when you're launching your marketplace. Now, lights. All right, that's better with the lights. So let's get started. Let's talk about these 3 tips that you can use when you're launching your marketplace in the earliest stages. I'm gonna use Studio Time for an example because, well, it's a great example to use because it's something that I have a lot of experience with since I built the site, launched it in an evening, generated millions of hits to the site, and today it's the largest online community of music studios in the world. So what better example to use? So the first tip, and it's actually a mistake that I made when I first built and launched Studio Time, the tip is to focus on one market first and not try to scale too fast into being a worldwide marketplace from the start. With Studio Time, we built it, launched it in an evening, and it just kind of picked up with press everywhere. But the issue was that we had a lot of studios sign up, and yet we couldn't generate a lot of demand for the studios all over the world. Now we have, but that took a lot of work and a lot of kind of reverse engineering, going back and kind of redoing. So you're gonna have the typical chicken and the egg problem, which is getting enough supply on your site, for instance, in this case, music studios, and then at the same time generating demand for these spaces that you're offering on your site in your marketplace. For instance, having artists that want to book studios. So your goal is to have a studio obviously sign up, and then hopefully they have a booking request and an actual booking soon, which is marketplace liquidity. Now, if you focus on one market, then you can test the different ways and the process that you're using to onboard not only supply, but also the demands and kind of matching them both. When you've understood this in one area, for instance, the best place to do it for us would have been LA, since it's the biggest demand of both studios and the market to book them. Then we could have taken that and we would have understood the process of both sides of the marketplace and how they interact on the marketplace, and we could have simply taken that and rolled out to other studios, or sorry, other cities all over the world. So I would highly recommend that if you're looking to launch your marketplace, that you focus on one city first, demonstrate your ability to secure supply, generate demand, and generate some marketplace liquidity, and then simply take that process that you used and apply it to different cities and roll out and launch in other cities. And you can prioritize the cities too, from primary to secondary markets. That's what a lot of the bigger marketplace startups have done. The second tip that I would give you is really speak with the users and try not to overbuild too soon. So when I say that, I mean in this instance of Studio Time, for an example, would be speak to the studios. Understand the problems, understand how your marketplace can help them, and don't make so many assumptions so soon and simply just resort to building and thinking that, wow, maybe these features will just solve everyone's problems and we'll have a better business, generate more revenue, more growth, and all these other things. That really isn't the best solution from my experience, what I found, because I actually made that mistake with Studio Time, which is just simply adding more features instead of just really understanding with these actual transactions and kind of examining them and talking to both the studios and the artists what they liked, what they didn't like. Not only one of these transactions, but 5, 10, 100, because we needed some sense of kind of scale around that too with this feedback to make sure it wasn't one-off feedback. So we aggregated all this feedback and then stopped adding so many features and just really wanted to talk to more users and understand what they liked, they didn't like, and how we can improve. So now our product roadmap, and we are going to relaunch soon, is really validated by real users in these different use cases. Another, and this is the third problem, if you're a niche marketplace, I would highly recommend sticking to being the best marketplace for that niche as possible. So for instance, studio time, if we're an Airbnb for music studios, that's the tagline that we were given, to simply stick to that. So we need to be the absolute best at that and not try to be an Airbnb for X in these different categories or then services and whatnot. So we actually made this mistake, and you can see on the website right now, we have a community, which is then profiles for producers, engineers, and all these other professionals that are relevant to music studios. I thought, well, hey, maybe if someone's booking a studio, maybe they want to book a producer, an engineer, book an artist, or offer those services for all those different services also on the same site. Now, here's the issue with doing that. The process of finding a music studio, booking it, and is totally different than finding a producer, finding an engineer, finding another artist, vocalist, instrumentalist to work with, and the process of booking. It's just simply very ambitious to try to tackle, being an Airbnb for spaces, for studios, and then having a service kind of marketplace platform at the same time. So we simply went too horizontal, too fast, and tried to be something for everyone, instead of being the best for something and someone, which is the Airbnb for music studios. Just to summarize it really quickly in this video, so the first tip is to focus on one market first. So for instance, one city first, and then take your process, and then you can launch in other markets and you can scale outwards, and you're obviously perfecting that process too for launching in every market that you launch in. The second is to speak with your real users. So speak with them as much as you can and try to pre-validate as much assumptions as you're making as possible. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to build a product and you're basically trying to productize user behavior, so real people's behaviors in real life, and you really need to try to validate as much of that as you can as possible before you actually try to build all of this and launch it and roll it out and whatnot. The third is, if you are a niche marketplace, try to stick to being the best niche marketplace you can, even if it's not a massive market, but you can be an amazing marketplace for a certain group, a subset of people in a certain niche. It's better to do that than go too horizontal and just be a total failure because you tried to do too much and be something for everyone. So those are my 3 marketplace tips, and self-admittedly, it feels kind of funny to make the video and share, hey, here's 3 tips, because honestly, I really didn't follow them when I launched Studio Time. So I just really learned these tips after I kind of went through the process of, and now 2 years later almost, of running Studio Time, which is the Airbnb of music studios and the largest of its kind in the world. So comment below, thanks for watching the video, and let me know what you want me to cover, because I want to do a lot more videos talking about what I've learned, some of the mistakes, and then also some tips that you can use when you're launching your own startup, and in this case, a marketplace. See ya.